You wake up and your face feels heavy and swollen, as if it held onto water throughout the night. Your fingers do not unfold with their usual smoothness. Instead, they pry open, feeling as stiff as cold rubber. Your heart thumps with a more noticeable intensity than it used to, even before you have stood up from bed. Then the afternoon hits, and your mental clarity turns hazy, much like breath fogging up a piece of glass. Have you ever stared at a simple, everyday task and felt strangely slow on the inside? That heavy mental mist has a specific name, brain fog, and it is certainly not imaginary. It can feel as though your thoughts are trying to move through thick syrup rather than clear air. So, you might simply shrug and tell yourself that you are just getting older, because that explanation is easier to accept. But deep inside, aging is not the entire story. Sometimes your body is not simply wearing out, it is becoming chemically crowded. Your kidneys are the quiet cleanup crew of your body, functioning like a city garbage plant operating at midnight. They filter your blood nonstop, separating essential nutrients from waste products with a sense of ruthless precision. When that system begins to struggle, the waste does not simply vanish. It piles up right where you live. Many people assume that kidney failure is strictly the result of alcohol, drugs, or terrible genetics. Yet, the most common saboteurs are actually ordinary, daily, and almost invisible. Industrial salt tightens pressure like a constant, clenched fist around the tiny vessels of the kidney. Even mild insulin resistance sweetens proteins like a sugar glazing that hardens under heat. The painkillers you might take casually can dry up protective signals, much like turning off a machine's lubrication. Consequently, the kidney's microfilters start to fray, not with a loud bang, but with a series of tiny scratches. You feel it first as puffiness, stiffness, racing heartbeats, and that persistent, dim fog. Now, here is the question I want you to hold close. When the kidney filter membrane begins to collapse at the molecular scale, what happens if toxins cannot leave through the urine? Where do they travel instead? Let us shrink down into that hidden machinery and watch your body's slow process of self-poisoning. Deep inside your kidneys, something incredibly delicate is starting to tear. Imagine each kidney as a vast field of tiny coffee filters stacked tightly together. Each filter unit is a glomerulus, a microscopic sieve for your blood. Each sieve is guarded by podocytes, which are cells that cling on like the hands of an octopus. These podocytes have little foot processes that interlock like woven fingers. Between those feet sits the GBM, the glomerular basement membrane, which serves as a dense safety net. Think of it as the final screen at an airport security checkpoint. It allows water and small molecules to pass through while holding back precious proteins. Now, picture years of high blood pressure hitting that screen. Pressure is not just a concept. It is a physical battering ram. It slams fluid against the filter wall hour after hour without any mercy. Over time, that constant pounding makes the podocyte grip loosen and eventually slip. But pressure is not working alone in this. Another attacker is AGEs, advanced glycation end products, which are essentially sugar scar molecules. They form when extra glucose sticks to proteins like syrup welding onto fabric. Once they are stuck, they stiffen the tissue and attract inflammation, much like sparks landing in dry grass. So, the podocytes take hits from both sides at once. Mechanical force bruises them while sugar scars scrape and gum up their surface. When the damage accumulates, the podocytes detach like guardrails ripping away from concrete. And when those guards fall, the border stops holding its line. That is when albumin begins to leak. Albumin is a large blood protein, similar to a delivery truck carrying vital cargo. It should never cross into the urine because the body needs it to stay inside. But now the fence has holes, and the trucks slip through in waves. If you have ever heard of protein in the urine, this is the hidden scene behind it. Your body notices the breach and responds as if it is under attack. Kidney tissue releases cytokines, which are inflammatory alarm signals that behave like sirens. Those sirens summon scarring called fibrosis, which is like wet cement being poured into fine machinery. At first, scarring feels like a repair because it seals the wound. However, cement does not restore a filter's function. It clogs and hardens it. So, the glomerulus loses its working surface, like a sponge turning into stone. Quietly, your cleanup plant loses its lanes, loses its speed, and falls behind. Blood is supposed to be a moving river, not a storage closet. But when kidney filters clog and tear, waste begins to linger. It is not dramatic at first. It is more like a smell you cannot quite locate. Slowly, that invisible stink spreads through the whole house. One of the nastiest wastes is indoxyl sulfate. That name sounds technical, so here is the simple version. It is like toxic smoke produced when gut bacteria burn leftover protein. A healthy kidney pulls that smoke from the blood and vents it into the urine. When the kidney slows down, the smoke stays trapped inside you. Indoxyl sulfate accumulates, and your blood becomes a courier for poison. Its favorite targets are the endothelial cells, the slick lining inside your blood vessels. Think of the endothelium as a smooth coating that keeps blood gliding quietly. Indoxyl sulfate scratches that coating and makes it reactive. A reactive endothelium produces less nitric oxide, which is your natural vessel relaxer. Nitric oxide is like a gentle hand opening a tight fist. With less of it, vessels tense up, flow stiffens, and pressure climbs higher. Then comes the storm of sparks. The toxin drives reactive oxygen species, which are like chemical shrapnel in slow motion. Picture tiny hot embers flying through tissue, burning whatever they land on. They damage proteins and membranes like heat blistering plastic. Now, here is the part most people never hear. Some toxins do not stay in the blood. They can cross the blood-brain barrier, which is your brain's security wall. When inflammation weakens that wall, trouble can slip through. Inside the brain, microglia wake up. They are the immune watchdogs on patrol. They act like guards who stop whispering and start shouting alarms. Those alarms inflame nearby neurons, and signaling turns into noisy static. That is what brain fog can feel like from the inside. Have you ever reread one sentence 3 times and still did not absorb it? If you have, you are not broken and you are not imagining it. And if this link between the kidneys and the brain is new to you, tell me. Do you want more science told this clearly, without fear and without fluff? If yes, tap like, because it helps this biology reach more people. Stay with me, because the next mechanism explains exhaustion down to the bone. Now we reach the part that feels the most unfair, because this one does not just cloud your mind, it steals your energy at the source, like dimming the power in every room. And it happens quietly, long before anyone calls it a disease. Your kidneys are not only filters for waste, they also act like a hormone gland that sends instructions through the blood. One instruction is EPO, or erythropoietin, a message that says, make more oxygen carriers. Those carriers are red blood cells, like delivery vans loaded with oxygen. When oxygen levels drop, Healthy kidneys sensate it like smoke detectors. Then, support cells near the kidney tubules release EPO into circulation. Those cells are peritubular fibroblasts, which are like factory supervisors watching the gauges. When the gauge dips, they pull a lever and the bone marrow responds. The bone marrow is the workshop that builds new red blood cells. It works fast when the order arrives, stacking cells like fresh bricks. But chronic kidney damage changes the supervisors themselves. Inflammation and scarring remodel the area like vines choking a factory floor. As scarring spreads, those supervisors stop sending EPO. This is the EPO crash, the moment the oxygen order goes missing. So, the bone marrow slows production because it hears silence, not urgency. Fewer red blood cells are made, and the blood carries less oxygen overall. That shortage is anemia, which is an oxygen famine in slow motion. Here is what it feels like inside your body. Moment by moment, your muscles burn sooner, as if they are running on thin air. Your heart beats harder, like a pump pushing water through a narrowed hose. You climb stairs and feel the cost too quickly. You exercise and recover slowly, as if your cells cannot pay the energy bill. And the most maddening part is what sleep cannot fix. You can rest for 8 hours and still wake up feeling drained. Sleep can restore signals, but it cannot manufacture oxygen from nothing. Without enough red blood cells, every tissue must ration energy like a blackout. Your body prioritizes survival tasks and cancels luxury functions like motivation and joy. So, focus feels expensive, mood feels flat, and effort feels heavier than it should. This is where the cascade peaks and becomes personal. A torn filter lets waste rise and inflammation spread. Scarring stiffens vessels and irritates the brain's circuits. Then it silences the kidney's oxygen signal, leaving you tired to the bone. Your body, after 40, is not fragile glass. It is more like an orchestra that needs tuning more often. And your kidneys are the silent conductor, keeping tempo without applause. When they fall behind, everything else starts playing out of sync. So, what can you do starting this week without panic or perfection? This is not medical advice, but science-guided steps to discuss with your clinician. We are not chasing miracles here. We are removing pressure, lowering toxins, and protecting blood flow. One overlooked hit comes from common painkillers. NSAIDs like ibuprofen or naproxen reduce inflammation, but they also squeeze kidney blood flow. They block prostaglandins, which are like oil keeping a kidney artery flexible. Without that oil, the incoming artery tightens, like someone pinching a supply tube. Used often, that pinch can starve kidney tissue of oxygen. So, if aches are frequent, treat the cause, not only the signal. Ask your doctor about safer pain strategies and kidney-friendly alternatives. Some people also explore omega-3 fats or curcumin with medical guidance. Next is a threat hiding in labels, not cravings. Processed foods can contain inorganic phosphorus additives absorbed almost completely by the gut. Plant phosphorus is partly locked away, like seeds behind a shell. Additive phosphorus is like powder, instantly available and instantly overwhelming. High phosphorus triggers hormones that disrupt bone and vessel balance. So, practice one habit. Read ingredients like you are reading a contract. If you see words starting with FAEOs, put it back on the shelf. That one move can reduce mineral chaos that hardens arteries over time. Then we return to the gut, where many toxins begin. The gut-kidney axis is simply a two-way street between microbes and kidney workload. Certain bacteria ferment excess protein, and create toxin precursors, like a smoke factory. You can shift that factory by feeding different microbes. Soluble fiber helps: oats, flaxseed, asparagus. These act like sponges and fuel for good bacteria. They produce short-chain fatty acids, which soothe and strengthen the gut lining. A stronger lining leaks fewer toxin precursors into the blood in the first place. Here is the philosophy that ties everything together. Your health after 40 is not decided only by one annual blood test. It is decided by 3 daily meals and by blood pressure hitting tiny filters every second. You do not need fear. You need awareness and small choices repeated until they stick. If this story connected with your life, tell me what you recognized first. Was it the fog, the swelling, the fatigue, or the aching joints? Write it in the comments, and I will unpack the biology behind that exact feeling. And if you want more human-friendly science like this, subscribe for the next one. Take care of that silent conductor because it has been working for you all along. Your body after 40 is not fragile glass. It is more like an orchestra that needs tuning more often. And your kidneys are the silent conductor keeping tempo without applause. When they fall behind, everything else starts playing out of sync. So what can you do this week without panic or perfection? Not medical advice, but science-guided moves to discuss with your clinician. We are not chasing miracles here. We are reducing pressure, lowering toxins, and protecting kidney blood flow. One overlooked hit comes from common painkillers, NSAIDs, like ibuprofen or naproxen ease pain, but they can squeeze kidney circulation. They block prostaglandins, which act like oil keeping a kidney artery open. Without that oil, the incoming artery tightens, like pinching a supply tube used often. That pinch can starve kidney tissue of oxygen. So, if aches are frequent, treat the cause, not only the signal. Ask your doctor about safer pain strategies and kidney-friendly alternatives. Some people also explore omega-3 fats or curcumin with medical guidance. Next is a threat hiding in labels, not cravings. Processed foods can contain inorganic phosphorus additives absorbed almost completely by the gut. And plant phosphorus is partly locked away like seeds behind a shell. Additive phosphorus is like powder, instantly available and instantly overwhelming. So practice one habit. Read ingredients like you are reading a contract. If you see words starting with phos, put it back on the shelf. That one move can reduce mineral chaos that hardens arteries over time. Then return to the gut, where many toxins begin. The gut-kidney axis is a two-way street between microbes and kidney workload. Soluble fiber helps shift that traffic. Oats, flaxseed, and asparagus feed better microbes and strengthen the gut lining. Here is the philosophy that ties everything together. Your health after 40 is built by small choices repeated until they stick. And if this story connected with your life, tell me what you recognized first. Was it the fog, the swelling, the fatigue, or the aching joints? Write it in the comments, and I will unpack the biology behind that feeling. If you want more human-friendly science like this, subscribe for the next one. If this exploration of the silent conductor within your body has changed the way you view your health, please subscribe and like the channel. We are dedicated to uncovering the biological history and hidden mechanisms that shape our lives. Let us cultivate a healthier future together. The next treasure of scientific insight will be opened soon.